Gina with ohsowild.com, and be sure to visit me at my blog at sewmemore.com. Today we're going to be working on napkins, and we're going to do a rolled hem with the serger. Here are your supplies. You're going to need your fabric, a ruler, a cutting mat if you're going to use a rotary cutter, or you're going to use fabric scissors. So either the fabric scissors or your rotary cutter, you don't need both. You'll notice that with fabric scissors, they're flat at the bottom and they're usually pretty sharp, unless somebody in your household has gotten a hold of them and uses them for something other than fabric. Notice mine say fabric only, and I hide mine, but sometimes they're found anyway. But when I'm choosing to do straight lines, I choose to use my cutting mat, quilter's ruler, and my rotary cutter. It's sharp and it's much more accurate. When you're choosing your fabric for your napkins, you can choose a cotton, and that is fine. A couple of things to be aware of, though, is that cotton is kind of lightweight. Maybe certain cottons are not always necessarily good for napkins, and you're going to want to make sure that you definitely wash this fabric first before you cut it and sew it, so that this way if there's any shrinking that's going to happen, it'll happen beforehand. Some of your heavier weight fabrics will actually work better for you as far as napkins. You want to go ahead and cut them in 12-inch squares. So here I have on my mat, here's 12 inches. Line it up. That's one of the things I love about this mat, is that it's a grid and I can line it up. Put balanced pressure on my ruler. Whoop. I'm going to flip over my fabric. Okay, so 12 inch is always good for like kind of a luncheon napkin, but if you want to do more of a dinner and a fancier napkin, you can do that 16 or 18 inches. So keep that in mind. So now that I'm done and I have my square, and you can layer your fabric as well, so this way if I could do, 24, so I could cut it all at one time, whoosh, I'm all about let's get her done better and faster. Now we're going to move over to the sewing machine, but it's actually not a sewing machine. You have to have a serger in order to do a rolled edge. So we're going to go over to the serger and I'll explain to you how that goes. Now we're at our serger. I have a Bernina 700D. It's actually my Old Faithful. I've been using it for a really long time. Once I got past the fact that there are 4 spools of thread, 2 needles, and a lot of hoo-ha going on down here. But it's all color-coded, and it has a little map and demonstration down here, and very easily to adjust your stitch length and your width, okay? And once you get past all of that, you're really going to love it. So one of the things you'd like to do, or you're going to need, is woolly nylon thread when you're going to be doing a rolled hem. And actually when you pull it, you're going to see that there's actually a little, it's puffy. It's like a wool thread, so it's got some puff to it, and what that does is it helps fill in some of the gaps. There's also a variegated thread, woolly nylon thread. It doesn't have as much poof to it, but it actually is really pretty with the variegated colors in there, and you can get them in different variegated colors. Mine's metallic. When you're going to put those in, you want to put those in your upper looper, which is the one that actually shows the most. Okay, so you're going to put that one in there. Also, another thing you're going to need to do is you have a stitch finger. Okay, so when you have your stitch finger in there, it makes your stitches wide, which is what you normally would use when you're sewing shirts together or sewing seams of other projects, okay? But when you're doing a rolled hem, you want to take that, your upper looper needs to take your fabric and roll it under to the back. So you're going to take your stitch finger and pull it back towards you, and then this way it will help in the adjustment of your fabric, and it'll help bring your stitches in. You're going to lift up your presser foot with your finger, put your fabric, bump it up to your threads, and now I'm just going to stitch to the corner, and I'll show you what happens once I get to the corner. When I get to the corner, this will take some practice. When I get to the corner, you're going to want to stitch off 2 or 3 stitches. You're going to want to lift up your presser foot, pull your fabric to the back, Now with each machine might be a little bit different, and you'll have to find your adjustment gauge accordingly. Okay? Pull it all the way to the back so it actually, your thread comes off your stitch fingers. Slide it back underneath. Lower your presser foot so that this way your needles go back under your thread, into your thread, and that should give you a clean corner. But when you have a serger, your needles are actually coming in at an angle rather than just straight up and down. So it might take some adjusting, and each machine is a little bit different. So you might want to use some scrap fabric before you actually just run on into your napkins. So you're going to do this with all of your corners. Go 2 stitches off, lift up your presser foot, pull to the back, bump up your fabric, lower your presser foot, lower your needles into your fabric, and then go again. Now to finish off, you have a couple of options. Okay, you can actually just serge it off and then cut the end and use a little bit of like fabric glue to kind of close off those stitches, or you can actually tie a knot if you should so want to, where you just kind of tie a knot and run a needle through your thread. I am going to do like a flip and turn and then serge off. So I'm just going to flip just like I would a corner. I go like 2 stitches off, lift up my presser foot, pull it, flip it. So I flip it towards me, bump it up to my needles, put my needles in my thread, in my fabric I mean. And do a quick serge off in just about an inch and then cut it off from there. And then there you have it. So there's your rolled hem. And there's your corners, which takes some practice, but hey, if you do 4 corners or actually 3 corners per napkin and you do a whole set of napkins, you should have that pretty well done by the time you're done. So you can use this in your bread baskets or anything else you should so choose. Thank you for watching my video today. Please be sure to rate and subscribe. Have a great day.